Roy Keane yet again has overstepped his mark with his treatment of what he's doing to Bruno Fernandes, and this is absolutely despicable. This is a former captain of Manchester United, and his name and his words carry a lot of weight. And then you see the current captain of Manchester United that is literally dragging United by the collar, taking us to better places and better positions, and we are on civil war with these two people. It is so annoying to see that the legends of our clubs does more harm these days than the players on the pitch. It is that crazy. You would think that the legends of our club, you look at Martin Keown, the so-called invincible. He is known and he gets stick online because of his undying loyalty to Arsenal. For Manchester United, our legends are the ones criticizing us the most. And do not get it twisted. Just like Bruno says, criticism is not the problem. It's when you put words into my mouth. It's when you lie on what I said. That is what the problem is. We saw situations upon situations, especially after Bruno got the equaling assist. And we listened to the overlap. Because we all love the players that are on the overlap. We love Uncle Righty. We love Gaz. We love Roy Keane. But what Roy Keane said was absolutely wrong. It was straight up misunderstood and it was straight up wrong. And when Bruno called it on the diary of the CEO, you would think Roy Keane would come back out and then apologize. But my goodness, did he do the opposite? And that is what we are talking about today. Because Roy Keane is at it again with our captain, Bruno Fernandes. Let's begin. Because this one is going to be intense. So strap up because I'm already sweating. I'm already angry and I'm already ready. So hit that subscribe button before you go on. And I'll see you guys. Let's get it started. There are certain debates in Manchester United that just feels bigger than football. Not because of the trophies, not because of the tactics, but because of what they represent. Two completely different versions of football, of what football should be and the football club should be looking at. And right now, the debate that is going on, that has exploded on internet, is Roy Keane versus Bruno Fernandes. On one side, of course, we have the former captain and what you would arguably say the best captain that we have ever seen on Manchester United colours, Roy Keane. And on the other hand, we have the current captain. Because when you look at Roy Keane and look at what he has done for Manchester United, he is the embodiment of what Manchester United should be. The fearless, relentless, brutal. A captain who believed leadership meant to dragging standards to impossible levels. And then on the other hand, of course, you have Bruno Fernandes, a modern leader who is emotional, he is creative, he is expressive. A player who Manchester United, through one of the hardest eras, has dragged us to the semblance of who we were before. And after months and maybe even years of criticisms, Bruno finally has snapped. Bruno finally has said something about the annoying criticisms that he gets from these legends. Because it wasn't just about another pundit's opinion. This became personal. It was personal. Roy Keane accused Bruno Fernandes of caring more about assists than winning. Bruno responded by saying he was lying. And then came the Instagram post. A donkey under the spotlight with a caption, "Too much attention makes a donkey think he's a lion." And suddenly, what started as a football criticism has turned into something more deeper. This is Bruno versus Roy Keane. Let's get started. So what actually happened in this situation? Because for people that did not know, I want to break it down for you. To understand this situation, you need to go back and get the context. Because Bruno Fernandes just completed one of the greatest individual seasons ever recorded by a Manchester United player. 21 assists, a league record, literally defeating De Bruyne and Thierry Henry. And while Manchester United are in the rebuilding stage under Michael Carrick, Bruno became everything. He was the creator. He is the leader. He is the heartbeat. He is the emergency solution to every single problem that comes for Manchester United. Week after week, he dragged United forward. Week after bloody week. And after breaking the assist record, the conversation should have been celebratory. We should have been celebrating Bruno's record. Instead, Roy Keane destroyed him, questioned his character, and that was where he crossed the line. Because you can talk about the game, you can talk about the situation, but when you question what someone has in his heart, what he's looking forward to, on what he wants for the team, that is where you're literally teetering on, hey, that's personal, my guy. Roy Keane claimed that Bruno admitted that he chose passing over shooting because he wanted the assist record. To Keane, this was a mentality represented of everything wrong in modern football, everything wrong with Manchester United. Individual statistics over winning mentality. He called it a circus act. And if you know Roy Keane, you know exactly why that triggered him. Because Roy Keane comes from a generation where personal records meant absolutely nothing unless trophies came with them. Keane, captaincy is sacrifice, pain, standards, fear, not social media clips, not numbers, not branding. So from his perspective, he wasn't attacking Bruno. He was protecting the standards of Manchester United. Well, you can say that. Now, in what I'm looking at in this situation, you have to look at the whole context. And that is what I'm painting for you guys. Before I would then give you what I think is my 2 cents. And you guys can then tell me in the comments what you also feel about this situation. But then, Bruno absolutely fired back. Bruno Fernandes has taken criticisms since he joined Manchester United. Ever since he joined in 2020, since 2021, he has been collecting criticisms, be it the way he complains to the ref, be it the way he plays football, be it the way he loses the ball, body language, complaining, leadership, emotions. Roy Keane has questioned all of it before. But this time, Bruno believed the line has been crossed because according to Bruno, Keane didn't criticize his game. He criticized, he changed his words. And Bruno publicly said, I don't mind criticisms. Bear in mind, he has said this repeatedly, so many times, so many interviews. But what Roy Keane said was a lie. Those were the words of Bruno Fernandes. And suddenly everything changed because Manchester United players almost never go directly to Roy Keane publicly. Why? Because Keane is untouchable to that football club. Keane is untouchable to Manchester United. What he has done, his heritage, his football authority, his history. Bruno did not back down from that though. In fact, he absolutely said, he revealed in that interview that he reached out to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his former manager, for the number of Roy Keane because he wanted to confront him, wanted to speak to him directly. That tells you how serious this became. It wasn't PR, it wasn't media training. This was a genuine frustration because Bruno was essentially saying, criticize me all you want, but don't invent a narrative about me from thin air, especially when you try to mix my words. And the fact about this situation is that when you have strong characters like Roy Keane, he has made his mind about Bruno Fernandes already. There's nothing Bruno can do to absolutely change that. And that is the reason why when Bruno speaks, this man is he's interpreting what Bruno is saying in his head as a negative immediately. He doesn't stay to catch himself, to understand, oh, he actually did not say that. He doesn't do that. And honestly, this is where the debate is very fascinating because both men believe that they are defending Manchester United. However, I would say this for a fact. Roy Keane might be doing more harm than we have seen in a long time. And then came the flipping Instagram post. And this right here is what absolutely crossed the line for me. It crossed the line in so many ways. It hurt me to see my former captain, the person that almost, I would say arguably made me love Manchester United. Even when my father is a Chelsea fan, my older brother is an Arsenal fan. Come on. He was the one that influenced me enough to join Manchester United in supporting the team. Roy Keane posted an image, a donkey standing under a spotlight, with the implication that attention makes someone think that they are bigger than they are. That is the implication of what he posted about that picture. No names, no explanation, but everyone knew who it was aimed at. And this is where every single thing becomes symbolic, because the Instagram post revealed something massive about the entire field. Roy Keane believes modern football has become obsessed with image and attention. That is the way I see it. Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United represents the modern footballer, the emotionally open, the publicly expressive, and social media era leadership kind of style. While Roy Keane, of course, represents the opposite, the guy that would be silent when it comes to the criticisms from everybody else, that would show the intensity on the pitch, that would show the internal standards that he's absolutely setting at the football club. And the truth is, these two words are totally, they never fully understand each other. And that is the sad part about it. Because when you look at what Roy Keane was saying, you could be like, oh, on its own, that could be the truth. But not for Bruno Fernandes. Bruno Fernandes stands as a lion in a flipping stage on this Premier League. I don't care what it is. Let me tell you fact. For me personally, Bruno Fernandes gets into Sir Alex's team comfortably. I say it. Because what this man has given us, what he has shown us, is something that is generational. He is a generational talent. And I'm saying it right now. And I don't think that it's going to be something that we would look back on Bruno Fernandes' career at Manchester United and be like, oh, I don't think he would have made it in the 2013 era, in the 2000 era under Sir Alex. Because if Nicky Butt can make it, Bruno can make it. If Darren Fletcher could play multiple times under Sir Alex, Bruno can make it. Even one of the greatest midfielders I've watched in my entire life, Paul Scholes, can make it. Bruno is giving him a run for his flipping money. Because nobody creates as well, as much as Bruno Fernandes does for Manchester United. I've not seen it. Even David Beckham, that held the record of 15 assists for Manchester United in a single career, in a single season. Bruno Fernandes has eclipsed him with 21 assists this season. But let me calm down and actually break this down, because it's getting on my nerves more and more as I keep talking about it. Now here is the uncomfortable truth about this situation. Roy Keane is wrong. Roy Keane might be right also. At the same time, because two things can be true. Because if Keane genuinely misquoted Bruno Fernandes, then Bruno absolutely is right to defend himself. That's fair. But Keane's border point in this situation is that Manchester United, the standards of what we are, have dropped over the years. And the part is also true. And this is why this whole situation has exploded across football. Because Bruno Fernandes has become the symbol of modern Manchester United. And instead of him to understand, what we need to do in this situation is to get us back to the standards that you set as Manchester United's captain while you were here. You find it that it is best served that you criticize the one person that could have played with you, the one person that has been a consistent performer from Manchester United, the one person that has been giving Manchester United point upon point single-handedly over 5 to 6 years of playing at Manchester United. That's the person that you criticize. That's the person that you pick on to criticize. Some fans are looking at this man as the savior of Manchester United in this banter era. Others see him as a representation of what the club was, or what the club has drifted away from, and why the ruthless standards of Ferguson should come back. But here's the reality that nobody wants to admit. Without Bruno Fernandes, Manchester United would have completely collapsed during multiple seasons. Completely. What we saw Tottenham Hotspur go through in 2 seasons in a row would have been Manchester United without Bruno Fernandes. He has carried this football club creatively for years. Goals, assists, ability, leadership. And this season proves it again. 21 assists is not an accident. This is historical production. I don't think in Roy Keane's lifetime came close to doing this. And I'm not saying this to criticize Roy Keane anyway, because Bruno cannot shine Roy Keane's boots when it comes to his legacy at Manchester United. But Roy Keane doesn't care about the production alone. He cares about the mentality, the control, and the standards. I keep on repeating that. It's not a bad situation. But we have to now look at the bigger picture. What makes this story incredible? Because both men are actually fighting for the same thing in what I feel. Manchester United returning to the top of the Premier League. Roy Keane wants people that will sacrifice and become killers in getting Manchester United back to the top. Warriors, monsters. That's what Roy Keane wants. While Bruno Fernandes wants redemption, he wants the progress, he wants a winning future. Those two things are aligned. However, these two bloody captains cannot come together to understand that they would make Manchester United better if they can flipping come together. And that's what annoys me about Roy Keane. It's different methods, but the same flipping obsession. And maybe that's why Bruno responded so emotionally. Because deep down he wants what Roy Keane He wants the respect for who is the standard of captaincy at Manchester United. But the irony is that when the legends criticize you, it hurts differently. Especially when you are holding the pressure of reviving Manchester United, the biggest club in England, back to its original state. And for Roy Keane, he needs to remember that he played with legendary players. He needs to remember that he played with players that absolutely are in the Hall of Fame in the Premier League. Bruno Fernandes cannot claim to say that. Roy Keane needs to also remember that he flipping got relegated with Nottingham Forest. And yes, I get it that you came to Manchester United and you changed everything for us. But my goodness, it is not good. It is definitely not the best way to criticize the man that is trying to do the same thing that you did. You don't like the way he's doing it? Fine. Tell him that. Tell him a better way. Sit him down. Tell him, coach him how to do it better. You can get his number. You can walk into Carrington right now. They will lay the red carpet for you and you go and you speak to him. But you just sit in your flipping podcast and you criticize the person that is running 100 minutes for us in every game. This feud isn't ending anytime soon. That we can absolutely say. Because it's bigger than a podcast clip. It's bigger than Instagram. It's bigger than the argument. This is one old Manchester United versus the new Manchester United. It is Roy Keane versus Bruno Fernandes. The standards versus the expression. It is the fear versus the emotion. It's the past versus the present. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, Manchester United need to build their future. The scary part is that if Michael Carrick is truly the man to bring Manchester United back to the top, then this debate will only grow them as leaders, will only grow louder. Because if Bruno lifts the Premier League trophy as a captain, history may force Roy Keane to rethink everything. And until then, the civil war inside Manchester United will continue. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the follow button, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.